pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion to approve minutes.
And I'd second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Liquor permit.
It's just a beer license, right?
Mm-hmm.
They do that every year.
Well, because he's on the wrong side of the street.
Exactly.
No. That's the right side. So moved. It's city water and sewer, I think.
It looks like normal, and I would second that motion.
All in favor of approving Marty Kim's beer permit?
No,
Aye.
Aye.
yeah,
Good
different house
morning.
today.
Well, yeah, this is my Iowa State hat. Yeah, this is not my official.
No,
Almost lost my suit too. I couldn't figure out where it was. It was at Pointers.
oh,
That was a little bit paranoia. Sorry to interrupt your business here, guys.
we're fine. We have a little agenda today.
What's that?
Well, I have it.
Engineer's got.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't let me crowd anybody. I'm good. I had come over to do my garden business, and so, yeah, we're just about out of stuff. But
Really? What have you got left?
tomatoes and, tomatoes.
Really?
We had, when the hoop came down, or when we first started freezing, we put all the green tomatoes into the cooler, now warmer, and so that they would ripen. But green tomatoes don't ripen real fast if there's no, so we're just kind of, I hate throwing green tomatoes away. If anybody's gonna be able to use them, let's pass them on.
Good morning.
Looks like a man with some serious business. Right?
Mine in my world today.
There you go. That's good, that's good.
Go ahead. Bridge that used to be on 59th Street, just west of the Lynn County line, got replaced with a twin box culvert here late this fall. It used to have a weight limit on it, so we need to by resolution, remove the weight limit on location, since it no longer will have that restriction.
I'll make a motion that we do remove that weight embargo, and that you got the actual.
Yeah, I listed by the local county name, which is BE 5737, but I've also described it as being 3/10 west of the Wood County line on 59th Street Trail.
Just like you said.
Second.
By resolution,
Rimmer, aye.
Seaman, aye.
I haven't talked to these guys about it, but the light down there at Highway 30 Blairstown Corner is pretty dim. I don't know. Be nice to have another light.
We talked about the ones being on the Dan Horn side.
They're gone.
Yeah.
I took them out.
Yeah.
And there's a 4 or 5 foot berm between them. And then they moved the road south.
Right.
And it's further south than the rest of the road. I think it is so that they can get semis between the road and have them stop. But I'm getting more complaints all the time from local people.
That's a state thing. No.
Well, it is. It's both. I mean, it's county paid for.
I went to the trailer.
Activity, but it requires DOT permission.
Okay.
I talked to the REC about putting pole up, because they did put it up on the south side. I don't think that power went to that.
yet or not?
Yeah,
wait,
Okay.
yeah, because last Tuesday, I got a call from REC and they did not know what farmer owned that ground because it's in a LLC. So I gave them the information who actually owns that property, and they were out there that afternoon already, hanging the triplex. I have not been by it at night.
My hunch would be just the DOT generally only allows what they call the destination light, which is one single light that just identifies the intersection. It isn't intended to light it up majorly. It's just kind of a marker, so to speak, to help identify the intersection. To do more lighting than that would require a request of the DOT permission and do intersection lighting in other intersections, but they're not going to allow that to happen until that project is complete.
So there's 20-some lights at 30 and
That's
218.
done, that's done though.
Yeah, that's done. And I assume they're state lights, because they're 2 state highways.
Mm-hmm.
But like at the, Watkins Road, they've got multiple lights there.
Atkins on 33rd, Norway at 30th, Watkins at 26th, and Newhall at 27th, all have intersection lights. That county pays the electric bill in all 4 of those intersections on Highway 30. Watkins was a project that the county designed with the DOT's permission to put up those 5 lights. The other 3 intersections, that county inherited when the TJ bill went through in '03, when those old state roads became county roads. Likewise, there's 3 lights at 150 and 51st, just south of, north of Urbana, south of Independence. And then west of Walford on 151, there's 3 lights there going to Norway. All 6 of those intersections, electricity is paid for by that county, and all maintenance activities that need to happen there are paid for by that county. We do some of the work, and sometimes they contact an electrical contractor out of Waterloo to help us.
So what's the procedure if we wanted to put more lighting at the Doorstown corner? How would we accomplish
Back when Benton County had a request at Watkins, I don't recall of any form paperwork. I remember meeting with 2 DOT individuals, I think down at Watkins Bank, just as a location, discussed it, and I think it proceeded. There was permission granted to proceed, but the county had to design all the work. There would have been a contractor, at that time I know that there was an acronym, I think it was CSTEP, CSTEP grant, that reimbursed the county for 55% of that project cost. That project still exists, or that grant type deal still exists. But going back to what I said earlier, I don't think DOT is going to let anything happen there until the whole 4-lane and all the intersection on the north and the south side is all done at any one of those intersections, if that's considered moving forward.
Did you have Luzerne, Keystone intersections? If they're gonna be the same scenario,
Well,
we'd probably have to do all at once after the project's done.
like Keystone, it's flat. But the problem with the Blairstown intersection is they're building it up. So there's 4 or 5 foot of berm between, well, there ain't no lights on the north side anyway. But that's what the problem was originally, is the lights didn't make it over there. And then there's more width at the Blairstown intersection, because that Highway 30 goes south. right before you get to the intersection. So I think there's gonna be room for a semi to sit between the north or the eastbound and the westbound lane at the Blairstown intersection. So those lights were, they didn't do no good because they were put on the north side. You know, they were on the north side of the old highway. And then by the time they widened the highway extra wide there wasn't anything. It's like having the yard light at home when you need it up here.
Exactly, yeah. But, you know, probably not gonna allow much, as you said, until project's completed.
Usually all those lights are tied together. At the intersections that I'm talking about, the lights are all tied together on one meter. And whether the power company has a preference on where the pole is placed to run that power to it, but they'll all be
Benton County
connected.
Supervisors.
Whether you could do.
Yeah, is Rick Farmer available?
Well, I'm here.
Is that you?
Yeah.
This is Patrick Ferguson.
Okay.
I have a question. That development that I did out northeast of town, I split an additional lot that I had, and it's getting more confusing every time I turn around. So I'm trying to figure out, can we give that main driveway a street name or a street number or an avenue number, and then give the houses housing addresses?
I think that's probably a 911 type question, isn't it, Byron?
Well, it would be, they have 911 addresses, but what they did was they didn't have enough 911 addresses apparently. So what they did is they gave everybody the same house number and they gave it lot numbers. Okay? And the lot numbers are goofed up. They're different than how it's listed on the plat, I guess I'll put it that way. That's part of the problem. And then when I split that second lot, instead of just calling it lot 1 through 5, he wanted to call it lot 1 through 4A and 4B. And it just keeps getting more and more and more confusing. So I was talking to the neighbors the other day, and we were wondering about maybe giving it an avenue, like a lane, whatever. I don't know what the address is. The lane goes back to the behind the quarry. But we were wondering if we could just give it a lane name and then assign house numbers in there for the 911 portion of it.
Well, Myron's here. He hopefully be able to.
You want me to see what he has to say about it?
Well, he's right here.
He's heard everything he said.
Okay, so what do you have to say about it?
From an addressing standpoint, and I think this question's come up before, you do have, I'm not sure for like mail service, I don't know about all the other deliveries, how that all works on private property versus public property. You have
Right.
subdivision.
Well, it is a private development, but my understanding is that the county will not recognize actual names of streets or avenues. In other words, I can't call it like Ferguson Avenue, they won't recognize that, it has to be a number, is that correct?
I don't know about the name versus the number. What I was gonna say is because they're all private lanes, whether
Well, I
the
wouldn't, we
911.
wouldn't be naming a street for each driveway going to each house, it would just be the main drive coming in.
But that's
That feeds all the
subdivisions,
driveways to the houses.
but all subdivisions in Benton County right now that have an interior road within them are a private road. They're not a public road. And I don't know about the naming part of it, but from a public standpoint, they're not. They're a private road. The county has a subdivision ordinance on how to make an internal street a public road
Okay,
that talks about the type of construction that needs to be made up of, to date, no subdivision currently has been built to that standard.
Okay,
At that point, whether or not the county would, if that's the requirement for naming interior streets within subdivisions, if it has to do with the private, public discrepancy, or difference, I should say, and I'm not fully up to steam on how all of the E911 addressing would work, if that needs to be discussed with 911 individual, or even,
well, who handles the 911 addressing?
there's a,
Dawn
Joe.
Marklin, isn't
yeah. Gal with.
Who is it?
Go ahead.
it? Dawn Marklin, she works over at the sheriff's office.
Okay, so is this something I should talk to her about, you think, or?
I think so. I know it's an ongoing issue with other subdivisions at this, I mean, you're not the only one.
And that ordinance, would Mark Greenlee have information on that ordinance?
Yeah, I mean,
Mark Greenlee is the one that, when I developed that, I had lot 1 through 4, and then I split lot 4 in half, and of course my brain's saying, okay, call it 1 through 5, and that's when he said, no, it needs to be 1, 4, A and B, and it just keeps getting, like I said, it keeps getting more and more and more confusing all the time. So I'm trying to simplify it, I'm not trying to complicate it, I just,
Sure.
it made sense to me if I called it whatever, Ferguson Lane, and then they each have their own house numbers. That's pretty self-explanatory then, but I don't know, and I know it all have to be filed and recorded and changed on the abstracts and all that too, but I'm just trying to, like I said, simplify it, I guess, that's the way I can put it. And I just don't know the supervisors, because they're the ones who probably know what needs to be done or can be done or whatever, so.
Got a lot of faith in us.
yeah, I know initially they started to number them all off the closest public road, but there are a few subdivisions that are all more than one subdivision in some mile segments, and there's not enough numbers available to do that, so then they started going
And
lot numbers, but.
That's why they started doing the same house number lot. What they did to me was they said lot A, lot 1, 2, 3, and 4, which, a lot of people, when they bought their houses and stuff, they think, they're like, that implies that this is like a trailer court. So that didn't set real well with them either, because it's definitely not a trailer court, so. But anyway, I'm not beating up trailer courts, I'm just, like I said, I'm trying to simplify it. And I'm not sure I'm getting a clear understanding here of can it be simplified or not, so.
To date, there hasn't come up with a simplification. I know that's, I know at one time there was some discussion about going to a 5-digit number instead of a 4-digit number to try to help that, but to date, and I think and I'm gonna rely on or revert to the subdivision ordinance that all private roads within subdivisions that service more than one lot are considered private roads and haven't been recognized as a public road to be named, based on the subdivision ordinance requirements that go with street construction within the subdivision.
So how's that work? I can't.
All right, well, I will try to get a hold of this gal at the sheriff's office and see where that goes.
You'd think you'd be able to, since it's a subdivision, just name the streets.
To me, if it's private property, you can hang your own shingle up there, call it that street whatever you want to.
I fully understand that I can name whatever I want, but then I have to still have, because my understanding is the county requires that you have a 911 address.
Correct. So
if they won't recognize Ferguson Lane, and then whatever number they want to assign to it for a 911 address, then there's already a problem.
you're right. But I would say she should be able to work with you. You'd wanna name it first, you know, have your name, and then they should be able to issue 911 numbers to each property.
And then you gotta go with the postal service.
All right, well, let me get ahold of her and see what we can do, okay?
Explain it to her like you did to us, but,
Okay, I will. All right,
alright.
Good. Thanks, Pat.
you bet, thank you.
There's, how do they do that one down by Atkins? South of 30, a couple miles. There's 30 residences in there.
That's their own,
They're
they
all,
all got a 911 number.
that's one subdivision that I think got a 4-digit number given to each lot within the subdivision off of 75th Street, I believe.
Yep.
But that's the only subdivision between 29th and 30th, other than, what, 2 farmsteads maybe?
Yep.
So you had 100 numbers available to work with. Now you go like south of 30 on 30th Avenue or 201, you've got 2 subdivisions on the west side of the road and 1 subdivision on the east side of the road, plus a few houses that are rural. And there's not enough, there's more lots there than there are 100 numbers available for 30th Avenue. And so I think the last subdivision out there might have been lots 1 through 10 or whatever that went with it, I'm not sure.
When we do those plats from now on, maybe lot them according to what the 911 would be. You know, she gives them the lot numbers. Before they record their final plat, maybe that's something we can start requiring too.
That's a good idea.
Because otherwise,
Sure.
the surveyors there can know what our 911 addresses are. And they do lot them out.
But you still run into, you run into it still frequently enough that you've got a lot numbered accordingly with the developer and the surveyor, and then a purchaser
Yeah.
would like to split a lot, and so then you still split that lot, and that happens probably more frequently than it doesn't, and so you still don't solve the problem.
Yeah.
You might help it, but you're not gonna solve it.
That's why those replats of those lots.
Getting back to the light at Blairstown, I'll check it out at night, go there and look and see what it looks like. The other solution I come up with, I seen it with my own eyes, the light that Gary's been talking about on the north side, the pole and the light is still there, and the triplex is all rolled up on the ground. Well, they disconnected that one on the north side of the Van Horn corner. But I just soon see it with my own eyes, see what it looks like, how it's lit. You know, it is the new kind of lights, but it's the flat ones, you know. But maybe they could put it on the west side of the intersection that goes to Blairstown. They got the one pole, you know, on the east side. And to me, it's awful close to the intersection. That's my opinion. But maybe they could put another pole there if we have to, if it ain't lit that great.
There again, whether DOT will allow it or not,
Yeah.
generally speaking, we talk for one light per intersection.
Why can't they, like, Watkins, Norway Corners, they got more than one light there.
So they're done.
Okay,
They're done.
but why can't they put the lights in on the south side like they are done? And then let the lights on the north side go till they get it done, and then put them in.
But the lights at the Watkins corner, ain't they steel?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
All
They're
6
not-
intersections in question are,
Yeah, they ain't the wood poles.
Oh.
They're the big lights. They ain't the little, I don't wanna slam anybody's
Utility
light.
pole.
Yeah, but I mean, yes.
Yeah.
It's not like a big flood or a bright light.
So they ain't gonna put them in till they're done with the highway.
that's
I
what he
think
said.
that's what he's saying, yes. And then we have to build a plane corner down there as well, not on 21, the one
Yep.
further east. Yeah. So,
Let me look it out, we'll talk about it next week. Good?
It's still confusing. I've lived there for 50 years. I was going to see Phyllis before that, and I have trouble. I do. I got markers in my mind now where I gotta go to when I start slowing down. Otherwise, I start slowing down way ahead. And I've talked to several people who missed the intersection. They just, there's nothing there. Everything's changed.
I know it's obviously has changed with the whole project. If you're westbound, there are 2 signs, in advance of the intersection that tell you the detour for southbound D66 to turn left. Go south if you're eastbound. There's a north detour sign in advance of that that tells you to continue going east on Highway 30. But they have added lane width for the right turn that the white paint line starts to tell you that there's that lane there to turn over to. But granted, if you're traveling at highway speed, you've just got the length of that turn lane. So
I'll check it out. We'll
Thanks, Fire.
It'll get better once the project, it will. And if we have to jump in and do something different with additional lights.
Like wife, she said, I'm going to watch this corner.
Okay, Greg, you were early and now we made you late.
Oh, no, you're not late. Don't worry about it. No big deal. Maybe I shouldn't, because this is recorded, but I could use the phrase my dad always used to use. What's time to a hog? Ever heard that before?
No.
Hey, that's a Southern Iowa thing, but you get that? I always try to use that when I'm standing in line, getting impatient. So what does the hog do? They eat, they sleep, and so it's like, what else you got to do, right? So
Thank you.
both of our times are important, but they're not any more important than anyone else. So, what I'm presenting you, just mainly here today, to say thanks for allowing us to continue our lease for the property. Obviously talking about old school produce here. This is 3 comparisons of 2020, 2021, and 2022 on total pounds distributed. And then on the back side, there's one of our fellow partners is a geek. He's an engineer and he loves comparing things. So he actually put it out for what would the total calories and how many meals would this be if they only ate vegetables, okay? They're totally vegan and that's what they ate, here's what it is. But he broke it out because he thought it was, and really what we're trying to do is, we're trying to get the most bang for our buck for the people that eat our produce. So, and as you'll see on the backside, there's a lot of vitamins and things that they may or may not get from a standard box of macaroni and cheese or some of the other things, and they definitely don't get that nutrition from some of the standards that food pantries are known for. So that's really fits into our mission of increasing the health of our food pantry patrons. So, but I did have to make one exception or make one point here. On the 22, we had a sizable donation from Casina's squash farm they were getting rid of all their squash, and that fits right into our model of we will take produce from anybody as long as it's or movable, we'll take it. And so they donated about 1,200 pounds of squash to us, and then we could write them a receipt because we're a 501c3. So they get a tax deduction, and we can move it on. So we moved their squash onto other food pantries in Benton County. So kind of that, that really good partnering, and you are part of that partnering. So I just wanted to demonstrate, not to brag, but to tell you the facts of that we're doing a really, really good job. We're trying to keep stepping up our production, figuring out better ways to do what we need to do. We've talked about even potentially adding another small hoop of some sort so that we could maybe increase our production during the winter, go into a winter harvest of like lettuce or something like that, but we're not there yet. So, but I did want to say thank you for, because this is the time of year to say thanks for all the blessings that we've had. And this is one of them. So just to give you an update as to where we're at, and again, to say thanks. Did you connect on our water bill yet?
She's working on that.
Okay, yeah, because I realized I messed up. I usually ask you for that in September, and I totally forgot about the water
Because it
bill.
should be slowing down now. right?
Yeah, we haven't used water since probably latter part of October, or first part of October, something like that. 'Cause and like I say, we still have a few green tomatoes left in what I call the cooler. It's actually warmer right now. And then have a few delicata squash that we have left. But been a very, very fruitful year. I was disappointed with carrots, or not carrots, with potatoes. They didn't get them in right. They didn't bloom well, or didn't emerge well. And so we had tomato or potato crop was about half of what it should have been. But it's gardening. It's like farming. Every year's different. You just don't know what the heck you're going to have, and And I did recognize that the city of Benton, also I met with them last Monday to say thank you. They allow us to use third on third for overflow. So there's a portion of our garden is used there. If we have extra, we take it and plant it down there, and they allow us to do that. And so we're trying to expand as much production as possible. Any questions, comments, concerns?
My comment is, it's really heartwarming to see this happening for the food pantries.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't just something that's not, once the county got it, it was just grass that had to be mowed.
Yeah, and
This
that's
is
kind of
very
our vision.
productive. Yes.
Right, which you all shared in the original, I mean, when Mike and I talked about it, and then talked to other people, how can we make this really something of value to the county and to all the residents of the county. The cool thing about it is, we see that we've hit our production levels, that we're taking care of our people, because I ended up shipping some things to HACAP in Hiawatha, and I've also shipped stuff to Northeast Iowa Food Pantry. So it tells me we've got enough, maybe overabundance, but we try not to waste anything. So my relief valve is Northeast Iowa Food Pantry and Hiawatha HACAP.
Where's Northeast Iowa Food Pantry?
Waterloo.
Okay.
So, and it doesn't service our area, so we're totally out of our neighborhood, but that's okay. And I try to keep my ears open. We try to keep our ears open for other needs, as in private things that might pop up. We've had a couple of those pop up as well. So, you get your fingers out there, and it kind of figures out that you can. God has blessed us. I'll put it that way. With connections on how to take care of people, and that's really that's what it all matters is.
You've organized this very, very well, and kudos go out to you and your group.
Yep.
So
yeah, we've got a great group, and continue on and continue to expand our partnerships and other things. More people to work with us. Our dream right now is to buy a LNS blue. That's my dream more than anybody's. LNS blue tractor so that we can have our own tractor. We're needing about $23,000 to make that happen. I'm going to work some partners and see if that money can come in somewhere. Because rather than borrowing tractors from our individual partners, people that are on our board, I'd rather have our own tractors so that we have, the power unit. But I think that dream will come true. It's just a matter of time.
you think you're easy house.
We could potentially get about $5,000 together to make it happen. So we're going to need another 15 or 20 to make it truly come true. So, yeah. So if you know of any grant situation, or you know of anybody that wants a nice tax write-off, we do it because we're a 501c3. Anybody donates money to us, we can write it off and say, here's your donation, here's your tax receipt. And so they can take it straight off their taxes. That's the benefit of being a nonprofit in a 501c3. So if you know somebody that would be passionate about what we're passionate about, say, yeah, I'd love to help those people. Well, I'm not going to turn anybody away unless there's strings attached. If you follow what I'm saying. Sure. If there's ways that they want us to do something, we may or may not be able to abide by what their requests are. So, hope I'm not sound like I'm begging, but I'm telling you what our needs are too.
So there's different places where you can get a tractor. It ain't a new one.
Right.
You can.
Well, keep your ears open. If you know of a good used tractor with a loader and has at least 40 horse, that would be what we want. Because we need about that to run our tiller. We borrow the tiller from the city. And then our bed shaper is Windsor's. They let us use that. So we need that, about that power range to pull the tiller and or pull the bed shaper.
So like 50 or 70 horse would be out of line.
As long as it's not too big to get in underneath the roof. Yeah, we got a size constraint because we're short, like me.
Well, most of these tractors are the same size.
They just increase horsepower, right? Put bigger engine in them. Yeah, that's true. Okay, well, thank you again, and Merry Christmas. I can say that now Thanksgiving's over.
Right.
And God bless you for all you do for us.
Thank you, Greg.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Report.
We'll have them next week, have meetings all over the place.
Gang ladder starting up this Friday.
This is the season for budget. I'm gonna start putting budget stuff on starting next week. So.
I had EMA last night. If anybody wants to look at some of this stuff, you're more than welcome. About the only thing, they set their budget for the year. Then he talked quite a bit about, or not the towers, we talked about that too, but I can't find it now. There we go. The sirens. Kind of a done deal. Urbana's gonna get 7 of them. Gonna use 6, 1 is a spare. Shelburne's gonna get 2. Atkins is gonna get 4. Alpine's gonna get 2. Mount Auburn 1. City of Norway 1. Van Horn 1. And Benton 1. And Benton's already got theirs up on the dirt road south of town. That's already done. And then as for the remaining teams, Lynn County wants the rest of them back. So they're gonna take the rest of them out of here.
Don't need any at the parks.
Well, that comes back to the EMA board. Who's gonna pay for them? Who's gonna move them? They were estimating if we put one knock down Hannah Lake, one at Rogers, one at Wildcat. I think that was it. It was gonna be like $90,000 a year to maintain them. The first year. To move them, set them up. So it was kind of overwhelming. The board said,
That's a chunk of change for 3 sirens.
that's about it. If you guys wanna take a look at your budget,
So Lynn County wants them back. What are they gonna use them for?
I don't know.
Anything else?
That's it.
Well, then I'll make a motion to leave.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.